Hello and welcome to Economic Forum, a program where we discuss various issues affecting our economy in Zimbabwe. These can be issues to do with agriculture, with tourism, with manufacturing, with industry. We discuss them here in order to see how they affect our economy. My name is John Masugu. Today we are going to be talking about changing trends in banking. In the past, we used to see very long queues in banks and so forth. Of course, we still see them, of those people who will be collecting their cash from the diaspora. But otherwise, the banks, the banking halls are now almost empty. This is because of e-banking. And resultantly, we have invited a software engineer who is an expert in that area of e-banking, Marufu. Welcome to Economic Forum.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Things have changed so much, and you, the experts, the technocrats, you've brought in those changes that have made the banking halls look empty as they are today. Tell us about e-banking, what it is, and what are its advantages.
Thank you. So basically, when we talk about e-banking, we are talking about electronic banking. So the E is obviously just a shortcut. Yeah. So there's two things to that. We have mobile banking and we have internet banking. Mobile banking, that's where you have your SMSs, your USSDs. Then, of course, internet banking, that's where you are accessing banking services through the internet. That means maybe your mobile data or your Wi-Fi. So in a nutshell, that's basically what is e-banking.
As we speak right now, would we say, Nyasha, that it has now spread across the board? Because when it started, maybe it was a few banks, a few people, and so forth. But we see in recent times where banks have actually been encouraging people to go on the internet and so forth. Are we now seeing almost everyone involved with e-banking?
Most banks have adopted e-banking. Almost any bank I know of is internet banking. But now when it comes to the customers, that's where we have challenges, but more and more people are adopting the technologies.
Let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages. Quite a number of advantages of electronic banking or e-banking. One of them would be accessibility, and it will be two-pronged here. We are talking about accessibility to the internet at times of problems with connectivity, and also just understanding the cell phone or understanding the computer. Those are some of the challenges that are faced. Talk about them.
In terms of the advantages, there are many. One of the advantages is it's easy, it's fast. It's fast for the customer who previously had to drive or walk, board a combi, go to the bank, stand in a long queue, then fill some forms. Now you can just go on your phone or on your laptop, you enter your credentials and you are in. Straight away you can see your statements, you can see your transactions, you can, on your own, you can do what you want to do from the comfort of your home.
But on the other hand, those who are not as flexible as you talk about using the phone and the laptop, that's actually
now that's a challenge. Now that's a challenge because part of the population in Zimbabwe is not computer literate. So that's something that's posing as a challenge. Other challenge is the availability of internet and even mobile networks in remote areas. Besides that, we have many advantages to those who are privileged enough to access the services. The convenience, it's fast, it's secure, because every bank makes sure that their internet website is very secure.
And they keep on evaluating.
So that
moves
and assessing with the risk, yes, and they employ experts to make sure that the websites are very secure.
And with regards to that, Nyasha, in the past it was common to get to a bank and you find an old lady or an old man who say, a youngster, can you help me with this? They actually give you almost everything. Say something about that in terms of the dangers of some of those things, especially on accessibility. I think that is narrowed down now.
Yeah, that's that will narrow down now, although maybe those who still cannot do internet banking on their own will still need assistance. But in this case, maybe they are getting the assistance from a relative, from someone they know.
Than someone they meet at the bank.
Yeah, in the past you just do it, you just get assistance from someone you meet at the bank, and maybe they get a few more details from you, from your personal account. To the younger generation, anyone who is computer literate can definitely just bank on their own.
Just finish off some of the advantages that you wanted to share.
Yeah, it's cost effective from the part of the customer. You don't have to travel to the bank. You just have to do it from the comfort of your homes. You can bank 24/7. That's one of the major advantages. In the past, banks would close before you even transact. Now, even during the night, at midnight, you can manage your accounts, you can do your transactions. It's open 24/7.
You'll have no excuse of not paying back your debts simply because the banks are closed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
That advantage is even bill payments. You can pay your bills from the comfort of your home. You no longer have to go to ZESA or to pay your water bills or to pay your internet bills one by one. Now you can pay all your bills, even your school fees, from the same portal. So it's definitely a great advantage.
What is this advantage about being environmentally friendly?
So in the past, we used to use a lot of paper, and paper is produced from trees, and cutting down trees is repercussions to the environment. So basically now the globe is pushing towards going green. So going paperless helps in that regard, and paper produces a lot of litter. But if you go paperless, if you're just transacting on your phone, there are no receipts, there are no forms to fill, we are getting greener.
That's Nyasha Marufu, who is a software engineer and e-banking expert, who is explaining the advantages of e-banking. Long ago, we used to queue in the banks, but we are now paying most of our utilities as well as other obligatory matters via the internet. So join us in the second segment of Economic Forum. We are now in the second segment of Economic Forum, where today we are talking about e-banking, which is a new trend that is now being used, and there is less and less visits to the bank. And our guest today is Nyasha Marufu, who is a software engineer and an expert in that area. We talked about accessibility and the fact that not everyone is able to be able to use e-banking because of the internet, because of literacy, and so forth. And when we talk about these disadvantages, there are those who are totally inaccessible. What do they do?
Those who cannot maybe access the internet due to various reasons, maybe they cannot afford to pay for internet, or maybe where they live there is no internet at all, or even mobile data at all. They basically have to revert back to old ways and just go back to the bank and access their services as we used to do it in the past. What we are trying to do is just to do it step by step. Those who can access internet e-banking, they can do that, and then we remain with those few that need to queue up in the bank. So that will decongest banking halls and make the whole process faster for the nation.
One of the issues really that has been affecting this kind of banking has been fraud. Many cases have been
definitely
reported. Are there improvements? What have the banks done, and what have the individuals done? I know we're going to be talking about best practices, but let's just address this issue of fraud, where we even hear of something called a card cloning and so
definitely.
forth. If you could just explain what those are and how they're being addressed.
There are many various ways that thieves perform these various acts of fraud. But the most common one in the past now is getting less and less frequent. It was card cloning. Card cloning is basically reading the information that's encoded on the mag strip. That strip on the back of the card is basically a cassette. Those cassettes we used to have. So it's just a magnetic strip where your information is encoded. The perpetrators of fraud would maybe introduce a fake POS machine. You swipe and then they capture those details, and then maybe someone will come and stand behind your back, and then because the first part of information they need is your card account details, which they clone. The second part is now your PIN. Now they have both ways of accessing your account via card cloning. So it was basically that easy. What banks are doing with that now is to introduce new cards. So when they call you to come and change your card, you just have to go in and change your card and get a card with a chip. That's EMV. That's a new standard which is more secure than the old cards. The chip now you cannot clone it because it's a chip that is a cryptogram that's always changing. So it's more secure than the old. So all the banks in the country are just moving away from the old cards.
And with regards to actually informing the customers, banks sometimes send messages and say you come and change your card, and others prefer to ignore. What advice would you give them?
That's very dangerous. That's very risky. Once your card has been cloned, the bank has no way of knowing whether it was you who transacted or not, because the account information is correct, the PIN is correct. How do you prove to the bank now that it wasn't you? It's difficult. So you just have to go and then you change your card to a more secure card and make sure that your account is protected.
Maybe at this point we can begin to talk about some of the best practices, starting with how you obtain the cards, how you open your accounts, and also other best practices that will ensure that e-banking remains secure, accessible, and very safe.
Thank you. So the first and obvious point here is to make sure that the devices you are using to access your services are secure, or even yours. It's not advisable to walk into an internet cafe, log in to where your money is kept, or your wealth is there, and you are logging in, and then it's not a secure environment. That's very dangerous. So make sure that the devices you are using are secure, and you know those devices.
What devices are these?
Your computers. Make sure the computers are secure. Your phones or your tablets. Security in two ways. That first, you know who they belong to. The second one is make sure that you invest in a good antivirus, because we have hackers who put software on your computer that will read whatever you are typing. But anyway, banks are investing in making sure that services are even secure and not accessible via that way by employing what's known as two-factor authentication. With two-factor authentication, you just have to make sure that it's enabled on your account. If it's not enforced by the bank, make sure that you are using two-factor authentication so that those who listen to passwords cannot then access your services.
Maybe, Nyasha, you also want to say something about where you keep these passwords, because people keep them at various places. Either they write them in some small notebook, either they put them on cloud or whatever. But what is your advice of keeping passwords? Because they are easy to forget.
I wouldn't advise on keeping your passwords online. It's actually a better alternative to write a small piece of paper. In that case, maybe you know that the only people who can access it are the people that are in the same physical space with you. But now,
so you can find the culprit if there's a
problem. Can find maybe it's your son or someone. But now if you put it maybe on the internet and then they leak, and then a hacker from whatever country can then give access to your password.
I think you say something about the fact that you're not only talking about being accessed by fraudsters from Zimbabwe, but even from other countries.
Yeah, definitely, because the internet now is it's a global thing. The internet is basically the epitome of globalization. Whether you're accessing a service from Zimbabwe or from Japan or Canada, it's the same amount of time. So when you're thinking about security, you are not thinking only about security within the context of Zimbabwe, but within the context of the globe. So you should know that once you are dealing with the internet, you are also exposing yourself to those expected hackers.
We're now having a few of those who actually write to you on your email to say they are stranded at some airport and they need your assistance.
Now that's phishing.
Yes.
With phishing also, phishing, they try to get information from you. They give you a link in your email or via your phone on WhatsApp or whatever. Click this link, please do A, B, C, D. Then you should never click on links to go to your bank. When you are going to the bank, use the link that the bank gave you. only, all the time.
That's Nyasha Marufu, who is our guest today on Economic Forum. He's a software engineer and expert in e-banking, and we are discussing e-banking, the advantages and disadvantages of the system, and also we're looking at best practices, what to do and what not to do in order for us to remain secure. So join us in the third and final segment of Economic Forum. We are now in the third and final segment of Economic Forum, where today we are discussing e-banking with our e-banking expert, who is also a software engineer, Nyasha Marufu. Nyasha, you were still talking about the links that we receive on our emails, and we immediately act on them and so forth. Some of them might appear that they are coming from people who are close to us, not knowing that they've been hacked. So talk about those and how we should guard against just clicking them.
What happens is maybe you know someone very well, you know their email address, but they got hacked. So the hacker will send out links to people, inviting them to click or to do something. That's most dangerous when it comes to banking. When a bank link comes via email or via some other medium, which is not the bank itself, you should never click on it, because that will take you to your website, which will try to collect information that you enter on the website so that they can themselves now access your banking services.
Nowadays, we have a lot of elderly people who are left behind with young children while they are in the diaspora and so forth. What are some of the precautions you would tell to the grandpas who normally would receive messages to go and collect money and so forth, and even those who send them the money, so that they can verify some of these things, because they can be an easy target?
Sometimes technological problems are solved by just the old simple way of verifying with your relative who's abroad if they've actually the ones who actually sent you the links or the money or whatever,
or the message
you get. Just make a call, ask them, are you the one who actually sent me this amount of money? And if they're the ones, you just proceed. If they say they are not, you know that their account has been hacked, and that will take care of the problem.
WhatsApp banking is also getting very popular. You want to say something about it and some of its disadvantages?
Yeah, it was introduced as a way to mitigate the problem of internet. You know, we use bundles here in Zimbabwe. You may not have data for the general internet, but you have data which can work on WhatsApp. So most banks are employing WhatsApp banking and WhatsApp chatbots. You chat with the bot, it tells you what to do, A, B, C, D. As long as you got the number from the bank, then it's safe. Then just make sure that you follow the best practices from the bank and the recommendations.
Nyasha, you know, there are so many gadgets where we have to log in, so many codes that we have to keep, as we were saying earlier on, yes. Some of them we have to write down. And as a result, some people end up using the same password across the board. What is the danger?
Yeah. Because it gets overwhelming to maybe you have 3 bank accounts, yes. And you have a card, and with each bank you have internet banking. Yeah, but it's dangerous. You cannot use the same password you use on Facebook or on social media. Use that same password again to access your banking services. That's dangerous. Why? Because a hacker can get access to one of the sites, and that will cascade to everything that you own. So you should make sure that your password first is strong. Second, you don't use the same password everywhere. The third thing is...
Maybe when you say it's strong, what makes it strong?
Yeah, what makes a password strong is first, it's not guessable. You don't have to use your date of birth as your PIN. Maybe I get access to your bank card, and then I know when you were born. It means I can just go and try your year of birth.
Try about 3-4 times, and you are there.
And I'm there. Yeah. So just make sure that you are using something that's not guessable. Now guessable is two-pronged. Guessable to computers and there's guessable to humans. Now in this case I was talking about guessable to humans. Guessable to computers, it means if you are accessing your banking website, make sure that your password is not your name, is some upper cases and lower cases, and maybe some special characters, and just make sure that it's not just plain text.
It's very common when you get to public places that you want to look for free Wi-Fi, and in fact you actually demand, even when you get to shops, that
Yes.
Oh, how come this place has no Wi-Fi? What are some of the precautions you have to take care of in just using free Wi-Fi?
It's very simple. Never access your banking services over Wi-Fi that you don't know that is secure. Why? Because the information that's passing through the Wi-Fi routers, it can be read. So it may be that people have installed software that reads your data that's being transferred to the bank over that free Wi-Fi. So never access your banking services over free Wi-Fi in public places. Maybe at the airport, you get 1 hour of free Wi-Fi, and then you say, maybe let me just transfer my money. That's dangerous. The other thing is never access an unsecure banking website. By unsecure, we mean HTTP, not HTTPS. The browser in any case will tell you that your connection is secure or your connection is not secure. When your connection is not secure, it means that the information that's being transferred from your device to the bank can be tapped into by someone in between. So you should never access, once your browser says your internet, your connection is not secure, then you should not enter your credentials or proceed with your internet banking.
Okay. Does that only apply to internet banking or any other? You're at the airport and you are there for maybe an hour and so forth, and there is free Wi-Fi. Has it got that danger that
basically this the hackers are not only targeting just your bank. As we said, they are targeting anything. Maybe it's your social media profile. Why? Because they know that once they access your social media, they can then spread their links and to more people. So you should, these are general practices on how to use the internet in general. Then maybe inform the owners of the website that we can't use your website because it's not secure.
Yes.
Yeah, but banks in general, they have the best secure websites.
That's Nyasha Marufu, who is an e-banking specialist or expert, who comes in as a software engineer. He has been giving us all sorts of tips that we should know about e-banking, which is the way to go nowadays so that our funds are secure. So what remains is for me to say that you can be in touch with us on the numbers that are showing on your screen. You can also engage with us on the social media platforms that are also flashing on your screen. If you have missed some of the episodes of Economic Forum, you can actually watch them on Economic Forum Zimbabwe on YouTube. So on behalf of Nyasha Marufu, the e-banking expert, as well as the production crew, this is John Masugu wishing you happy viewing.